So, again, what do you do? There's a few things about dropping down. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top for just a minute, and we're going to go all the way down and just like talk about it, where it makes sense for you and makes sense for the customer. Again, when you because of school and because of what you guys have going on since Labor Day, you haven't done any demos, right? And I actually said we should hold off on doing demos until we get to advanced training too, right? And well, I said that also. I think I said it to someone else. I'm sorry. But anyway, so first thing is on the Homemaker Plus 8, you do page 8 and 9 word for word, right? And you do it word for word because when you are a college kid, $1,273, right, is to you is like half a semester tuition or more, depending on how much your college costs, right? It might be a semester's worth of rent, or 2 months or 3 months worth of rent. For you, it's a ton of cash, right? And you need to know that page word for word. And you need to know word for word because you're talking about dollars that it would take you months to save to pay for something that costs that much. Whereas moms and dads, the average median income in our area is $50,000 to $60,000, and in Salt Lake, that's actually a low number because if you take away all the married college kids that are like 20 years old, right? The median income of the people you're showing Cutco to is around $80,000, $70,000 to $90,000 is their household income. Two parents, one of them makes 60, one of them makes 30 grand, let's say, you know what I mean? Or one of them makes 60, 50, and one makes 30, or who knows, right? But the point is, for them to spend $1,000, that's not that much money. They spend $4,000 on a couch, $4,000 on a water heater, $4,000 on a hot tub. They spend thousands. Remember, things in the home don't cost hundreds. They cost what? Thousands. You have to remember that customers spend money faster than you, and anything that you spend, like for you, $100 is a stressful amount of money. Yeah. You get a speeding ticket, you're like, crap, my phone's about to get shut off. Because if I pay my speeding ticket, I won't have the money for my phone. Or if I pay for my phone bill, I'm going to get in trouble because I don't have the money for my speeding ticket. Like for you, $100 is stressful. It's something you can get around and you can finagle. You can figure it out, right? It's a word in Spanish I'm thinking of. Okay, but you can get through $100 bill, even though it's hard. It's like oh man, I got to pay for this ticket. I guess I just can't go out to eat for the next 3 weeks, right? And you figure out a way to do that. If you're a customer and you're talking about a customer who lives in a home and has kids, you add a zero. It's always a zero, a 10 times multiplier, right? So if you stress about $100, you add a zero. A family of 2 to 7 people, they stress about the same amount for a $1,000 purchase. In other words, going to the grocery store for $250, that's not even a stress. That's like you spending $25. $25 doesn't even fill up your tank. So you spend $40 to $50 on a tank of gas, and it's like, well, yeah, but I put gas in my car all the time. When you live in a home, you spend $250 to $400 or $500 on 2 trips to the grocery store, Costco and Smith's, or Albertsons and Costco. You spend $400 or $500 really fast. Just like you spend $40, $50 on a gas tank, they spend $400 or $500 on groceries, and it's an every week thing. Every week. Now, $1,000 for them is like, ugh. It's like you getting a speeding ticket and you're going, I gotta write the check. I gotta pay my speeding ticket. But for you, it's $100. For them, it's $1,000. So when you talk about buying a Homemaker Plus 8, yes, it's $1,273, but it's just $1,273 when you own a home. For you, it's like $1,275. Oh my gosh, right? Even the payment. The payment is like 200 and something. Right? It's like 270 something. But I think you guys, if you really wanted something and it cost you $270 for a month, 5 times, you'd buy it. Even a college kid could figure it out for 5 months how to like budget, stretch it to get $270 extra a month, and you could buy a Homemaker. Well, if you could almost kind of do that, that's like a family going, oh, I'm not saying they're wealthy. I'm saying, it's 5 months. But it's 5 months of payments for what? 50 years of use. Now, a car is 5 years of payments for probably 5 to 7 years of use, and then they get sick of the car. In fact, 50% of car loans in the United States don't even ever get paid off before they sell the car again. Like they have a 5-year loan and they sell it in 3 or 4 years. They don't even finish paying off the car before they get a new car. And even if they do, they don't keep it for 20 years. Sometimes, but most times, they give it to their daughter, give it to their son, or something like that. Yeah. But for the most part, they're going to use that car, 5 years of payments, they're going to use the car for like 7 to 10 years max. We're talking 5 months of payments for 50 years of use. Tell me a family can't afford that. That's crazy. Of course they can afford that if they want it when you build the value. So when you're talking about page 8 and 9, you've got to know it word for word, because if you know it word for word, you're going to come across with more conviction and more confidence. And dropping down, you're going to get them feeling comfortable with that 270 because you're comfortable talking about 270. You're comfortable talking about 1273. Even though in your budget, that's 10 times what you would, you're stressing about $100. So it's a lot of money for you. But for a family, it's some money, but it's not their life savings. For college kids, that's like their life savings, right? You have to remember, in 8 and 9, you got to have down, because you're coming across talking about dollars that you wouldn't necessarily always be able to spend unless you really, really, really wanted something really bad. Most times, college kids wouldn't be doing that, and I wouldn't say a college kid should buy a homemaker ever, right? But on the other hand, a family, should they buy a homemaker? Heck yeah. Tell me a piece in the homemaker they wouldn't use. My wife made spaghetti and garlic bread and fruit, veggies. She cut up green red peppers, and cucumbers tonight for dinner, and then made spaghetti and a loaf of garlic bread. We bought the loaf, slice it down the middle, butter it up, put the garlic salt, put some green stuff on, I don't know, oregano or whatever it is, I don't even know, basil. Okay, and she put it on there. We put it in the oven. Right? So what did we do? We took the slicer and went all the way through the bread, took the spatula spreader, spread that baby up. We had like 5 spatula spreaders in our house, right? Because we have 5 kids. Trust me, we have 7 kids, but they're not all in the house, right? But the point is, we spatula spreaded that thing up. When we cut the bread, we used the bread slicer again. She diced up, which means she used the petite santoku, or she used the chef's knife. Either way, those are pieces of the signature set, right? We're not even talking about homemakers. Right? But my wife loves the petite santoku, and my mom and my stepmom, both, all 3 of those ladies, love the petite santoku, okay? Anyway, she's dicing up the peppers. She took the peeler, peeled the cucumber, she probably used the chef's knife, or she might have done the trimmer. Everyone uses a trimmer. Slice up that cucumber, right? So there's trimmer, petite chef, or petite santoku, slicer, spatula spreader. Oh yeah, we use Cutco table knives too, like every day, right? Those are the most used knives in the set. So she made one meal, and like half the homemaker was used. Now, tell me on Sunday we didn't cook up a roast or a ham, right? A ham, a roast, a turkey, a chicken. We use that carving set like every 2 weeks at the least. That's 26 times a year. In 10 years, 260 times they use the carving set. And those are the least pieces, the least used carving set. But that's 260 times they use that thing. Butcher knife, right? Frozen hamburger. We use that thing for watermelon. We just cut up a watermelon on Labor Day, right? We cut up a watermelon. You did it in training. You know what I'm talking about. The watermelon gets cut up on holidays and stuff like that. Spare ribs. I know I'm selling you on Cutco right now, but I'm telling you this because when you're showing a homemaker, your intention should be to sell a homemaker. Let me say, if you want to write down a note or two, you can. But my goal, this is before the signature set, before the ultimate set, before any of that stuff existed. My goal was, every demo was to sell them on the homemaker. Now, if I sold them on the homemaker, did they buy it here and there? Yeah. But if I sold them on the homemaker and they didn't buy the homemaker, how easy was a galley? Totally easy. How easy was a starter set? Piece of cake. And how easy was customizing when they pick exactly what they want? Awesome, right? Easy peasy, right? So the key was to sell them on the homemaker.
The email should be sent.
Okay, you got.
Sheets. You want me to take some home? Here.
Yeah, you can take a stack, but I want to see what we're creating. Call me later. I'm in the middle of this right now, and I'm like on one. Thank you. You guys are with me. I'm kind of freestyling for you. So I'm teaching you as we go, and it's really a dropping down workshop, right? So that's the mentality. Sell them on the homemaker. If they're like, yeah, why wouldn't I buy a homemaker? Is it easier to sell a homemaker? Do they buy it every time? No, but is it easier to sell a homemaker if my intentions when I'm doing the demo is to sell them on the homemaker? I'm not going into a demo ever thinking, oh, gee, I hope I sell something. Or, gee, what will they buy? That's a bad way to start the demo, right? It's, will they buy Pearl or a Classic? Okay? Will they buy a homemaker or a signature set? Like, that's what I want to find out. And I'm going to do the best dang demo I can possibly do to have them, what did I say? Sold on, and we'll say to make it easy for, brand new reps, the homemaker, right? If they're sold on the homemaker, easier to sell a homemaker sometimes, but it's also easier to sell the trade-in special. It's easier to sell the galley plus 6. It's easier to sell the galley on the trade-in. Then they're asking you, can we do the trade-in on the galley? The kitchen companion, can we do the trade-in? Because you did the trade-in on the homemaker. Could we do the trade-in on the kitchen companions? And you're like, yeah, I think we could work it out. And you're like, sweet, right? $500, $600 CPO, right? Get a pay raise pretty darn fast, okay? Got it? So we sell them on the homemaker. We ask them to buy the homemaker. 2 places I always have eye contact in that page, 8 and 9. The first time is when I say the price. So I go to the notes. The good news is that it's not $4,000 like Wusthof. In fact, it's not as much as Wustof's sale price of $1,999. The homemaker plus 8, and I write it in my notebook, is only $1,273. And that includes shipping. Now, most of our customers take advantage of our no interest investment options. And so on 5 months, it's only $273 or $272, whatever. It's only $272, and I write it down. And I show them. Again, showing them the payment. They see $270, whatever it is. And, right, $274, right? So it's only $274. And when I just literally got an email this morning. My cell phone bill was $268. Now, that's awesome. You know why? Because it's me, my wife, 3 daughters, and my brother-in-law, who thinks 6 cell phones for $268 is actually a pretty darn good deal. That's pretty good. Like, it seems like a lot, but it's not a lot when you're talking about 6 cell phones. And how many families do you think you show Cutco to that have a house full of cell phones? They got a house full of cell phones. So what's their cell phone bill per month? As much as a homemaker is. Now you get a cell phone for $270. You're flipping out, right? But for them, it's like, yeah, it's my cell phone bill. When they go to Smith's, what do they spend? $270. When they get the electric bill in the summer, it's $300 to $400. Okay, so $270. Now, then they say, I can't afford. What do you do when there's tailing on it? Don't say anything. You shut up. Why do you need to shut up? Yes. And they're talking out loud. Now, to you, it sounds negative. Oh, we got bills. Just like mom tells you that when you're trying to get her to buy you stuff for prom or a new bike or something. You know what I mean? You're trying to get your mom to buy your laptop for school, and they're like, oh, we got to pay for this. They're just trying to make sure you're not spoiled brats. Okay? But customers, when they start telling you personal stuff about their bills, that means they want it bad enough that they're willing to talk about it in front of you. Like, they want it bad enough that they're willing to, sit there and they're telling themselves all the things on the price side of things. But then they keep going back to, but these knives are really good. Oh, you did a great demo. Oh, and we know we use the scissors. And honey, what do you think about the table knives? Yeah, can we just get table knives? And they're weighing it out. And it sounds negative, but that's the most positive situation. If they're saying stuff that's why they're not sure they're going to buy it, that's telling you that they want it and they're trying to get their own minds past those things. If they didn't want Cutco, you're in trouble. If they didn't want Cutco, they'd say, no. No. We don't like green eggs and ham. Not in a box, not with a fox. We do not want a homemaker set. Right? They'd be like, we like wood handles. We like plastic. We like shishi steel that bends and melts, and we want the crappy knives. No, they never say that. They're always like, yeah, we really want this stuff. This is awesome. Ooh, ooh. Got to pay for this mission. Got to pay for this wedding. Got to pay for tuition. Got to pay for back to school. Got to pay for football. Got to pay the bills. We're getting a new kitchen. We're getting a new car. We're getting a new 4-wheeler, whatever. You know what I mean? They like go off all these reasons because they're trying to like say, yeah, but we still want the knives. Otherwise, that'd be bad if they didn't say that stuff. That's why it's so important that you shut up, right? And then when they're saying, finally finish what they're saying, you just be quiet. And you say, if you don't mind me asking, what? What is it about the homemaker that you're not sure of? And you know what they do? They just summarize the whole 5 minutes of what they just said to you in like one sentence. It's just a little too much money right now. And they just said that for like 5 minutes, but you shut your mouth. And then they say, it's a little too much money. Or I got to talk to my husband. Or I wouldn't use all those pieces. I'm not sure I'd use all those pieces. And that's when you respond with probably one or two of these. You say one, and then they give you another one of these, and then you respond with the other one. The reason why you want to do these is not so much to make them buy, even though every time it says, how does that sound? How does that sound? How does that sound? It's not to give them a barrage of how does that sound. It's actually, or getting to buy it again. It's actually just letting it all flow, letting it all come out, let them talk it over. They need that space to just think, is this the right thing for me? And if you do the knee-jerk reactions correctly, you'll probably sell like a couple more homemakers just because of those knee-jerk reactions. But what I look at it as with the knee-jerk reactions is that you're just kind of stalling for a minute so they have the space so that when you lay the trade-in special on them, they're like, oh, no way. Like they're like so excited. It's like the longer we have to wait for this season finale of a show or the sequel of a show, it's like even more exciting when it comes out. I mean, the commercials are so exciting. Like when you show the sequel to the Homemaker, the trade-in special, they're like, no, yeah, you know, like they're fired up about it, right? And then you say, oh, well, no problem. If they finally say it's too much, that's when you go to page 10, which is kind of where you need the friends and family discount, right? And you go, oh, well, you know what? Do you have some old knives that you don't like? Because we have a special right now that we're offering, and it's called the trade-in special. Now, I can't give you the scissors, entertainer, whatever you were going to give for free. You got to make that clear. I can't give you the free stuff. And they're like, oh, okay. What? You know, they want to know the answer. The longer you wait to get to the trade-in, the more exciting it is, right? But what I can do is take $223 off the Homemaker Plus 8 set that you like if you trade in at least one old knife. And tonight we'll talk about how they can actually trade in some old shoes because we're collecting shoes for the Children's Miracle Network. So they trade in some old shoes. Like that's not easy, okay? So instead of $1,000, now I always add in $1,273 because when they're not going to buy it at that price, I'm going to make that price seem really big. So instead of $1,273, Homemade Plus 8 is only $1,050. And the 20% down after tax is only $227. And I'm using my trade-in special sheet. And she's like looking at me, looking at the sheet. And I'm like, it's only $227. They're like, no way. And you're like, yes, huh? Okay. And they're like, this is sweet. And then you say, how does that sound? Notice how does that sound? Doesn't make them say yes or no to buying it. I'm just asking them to open air, just open, open-ended, just how does that sound? And they're like, yeah, honey, what do you think, honey? What do you think? Oh, that sounds better. And they're still not sure right there. But well, that sounds better. Or they say, well, that sounds better. You're going to get any one of those answers. Either way, I'm still going to say, well, would you like to go ahead and do that today? Now, I might know she's going to say no because of the way she said, that sounds better. I know she's not going to. But if she goes, that sounds better. I'm like, well, should we do it? She's like, yeah, see, great. Write it up and get the debit card, right? On the other hand, when she goes, I'm going to stay a little bit longer on that Homemaker Plus 8 trade-in. Let them think it over. They'll talk about it. Oh, it sounds better. Well, should we do it? Well, yeah, but I just, the scissors, we really do like the scissors. But I don't know if we can do that 227 and just don't say nothing. They're hemming and hawing, and I just want to let them do it. What are they doing again? They're getting around their bills. They're getting around, guys. For you, when you pay your rent, aren't you like out of money until like a week from now or 2 weeks? Like you write that $300, $400 check, you're like, oh my gosh, oh I barely have like $32 I got to make till the 17th, and you're like freaking out about it, right, or whatever. When they pay their bills, let me make it very clear. Families, here's their mortgage. Okay, that's their mortgage. Then they pay their car payment, insurance, that's car insurance, life insurance, dental insurance, health insurance, homeowners insurance. Then they buy groceries 1, groceries 2, groceries 4, 5, 6 for the month. And then they pay electric bill, cable bill, internet bill, phone bill, water bill, sewer bill, trash bill, and gas bill. Then there's this much money left over. Now this might be $5,000, it might be $4,000, it might be $7,000. But the leftover money, whether it's $200 or $2,000 or $5,000 left over, that's what they're weighing the $200 and whatever dollars against. They're not weighing the payment on a homemaker against their mortgage. See, families pay their bills, and then there's some money left over. I don't know how much. It doesn't matter how much. They're never not able to pay their bills, or else they wouldn't be living in the house they're living in. They're never not able to pay. Now, does that mean the leftover money is a lot? Sometimes no. Sometimes it is a lot. Sometimes it's not a lot. Sometimes it varies per month. But I'll tell you, the money they have left over after paying their bills, that's the money they're weighing the $200 against. Not their mortgage, not their groceries. They're not going to buy a homemaker and skip feeding the kids. They're not going to buy a homemaker and then not pay the electric bill. They're just deciding if the $200 against the leftover money is workable. And that's why they talk it all out in front of your face. So you got to just let it happen. And remember, okay, the slower I go here, it takes a minute. It takes more than a minute. It takes a long time. Not a long time either. It takes some time as a new rep to get over this idea. But let them weigh it out and just talk and let them talk. And then finally, when they can't do the homemaker plus 8 trade-in, I go, oh, no problem. Turn the page in the blue book. The next is our galley set and our kitchen companion set, which have been recognized as the Consumer's Digest Best Buy Award. Okay? And it'll take care of all of your needs. Now, the galley set has, and I'm pointing to the picture in my blue book, it has the paring knife for the small stuff, and for the trimmer for the small stuff. You get the petite carver for the meat and larger fruits. You get the spatula spreader for sandwiches. You get the turning fork for picking stuff up and using it like a kitchen cooking tool. And you get the bread knife and you get the chopping knife. And the kitchen companion set is just a hair different. You get the scissors in there and the cheese knife instead of the spatula spreader and the fork, right? And it comes with 6 table knives, so you can still probably live on 6 table knives, right? With your family, you got 2, 3, 4, whatever kids, and a couple of them are too young anyway, right, to use table knives. So you probably could last on the, wouldn't you think, on the Galley Plus with the 6 table knives? Probably, huh, Mr. Morey? Okay, well, the great thing is it's a few less knives only, but it's a lot less money. And look at my eyeballs. A lot less money. And they're like, what? And they're just as excited about the threequel, right? The third movie in the series. The Galley Plus 6 is the answer. How does it end? Tell me about the third movie, right? They want to know how it's going to be. And I go, the Galley Plus 6, instead of being $1,273 like the homemaker, Galley Plus 6, what is it? It's only $8.99 or $9.19. Galley Plus 6. And the kitchen companions is only $8.99. $20 difference. Which one do you like better? Of course, I actually know. Remember earlier I said it's harder to discuss the specific situation because the customer's not here right now? Well, let me go ahead and say, you'll figure out at this point whether they like the scissors and this cheese knife or if they like the spatula spreader and the fork. And you'll just say one price, the Galley or this kitchen companions probably. But my advice is to show the kitchen companions and the Galley together, and you probably just tell them the set that they like. Who cares which one you sell? It's $20 difference. You don't care. I don't care, right? So I go, the kitchen companion is only $8.99. And if you get that set today, on payments, it's only, whatever, $193 or something, right? Yeah, $193. Okay, and they're like $193. That's and I write it. Look, $899. $899 is below $273. When they see 12 and 8, to them that's $400 off, right? And it's $370 off. But to them, when they see 1,200 and 800, they're like, that's $400, right? That looks awesome, doesn't it? And when you go 274 and you go down to 193, they're like, that's $100 off. It, mentally for them. And you're like, yeah. And if you get that set today, since the scissors are in the set, I can give you the kitchen tools for free. And they're like, and I just let it sink in. And I go, so how does, would you like to get that set today? What's that? Cállate la boca, right? You shut your mouth. You don't say nothing, right? Zip it, okay? And they're like, ooh, oh. And whether they seem positive or when they're not positive on that, I'm like, hey, and I just let them think, and whether it looks like they're going to say yes or no, it doesn't matter. I'm just letting them think. And they start talking and talking, and I'm just what? Zip it, listen. And then if they don't get that, by the way, when you expect them to buy it, they actually do. If you don't expect them to buy it, why would they buy it? If I ask a girl out on a date and I expect her to say no, what's going to happen? She's going to say no, right? But if I have positive expectancy, right, you usually get yes a lot more often in life, right? So I ask them to buy it, and if they buy the Galley Plus 6, it's over. Or the Kitchen Companions, we're good. And you say, what would you like to add to the order? What do you like? Do you drink coffee, and do you want to get a hunting knife or whatever, right? Another subject about how to add accessories. We'll talk about that later. Okay, but continuing, I'm kind of rolling here, right? If she's not quite cool on the Kitchen Companions, you know what a lot of customers do? When you've done this enough, you've done 0 since you learned the advanced training because you guys are in school and everything is going on, right? With Labor Day and everything. So you've done 0 appointments from Monday to Wednesday, which is pretty rare, but even in school, it's actually not too uncommon. They are going to ask you, this hasn't happened to you yet because you haven't done the demo since you learned this, but they're going to say, you did the trade, could we give you shoes? Could we give you a junk knife and get that set on the trade-in? And you're like, well, yeah, actually, yeah, I can't give you the kitchen tools, but you can get this set. How much is that? How much is that? What's going to happen? What's the 4th movie like? What's the 4th movie, right? What's season 4, episode 4 going to look like, right? And you go, oh, well, the trade-in special on the Kitchen Companions, oh my gosh, and I'm writing it down, is instead of being $899, it's only $760. That's $139 off. And it's only $165. It's only $165 a month, which is another $30 off the $193, right? Oh my gosh, $30 more off, right? And I'm telling you, in my career, before the Kitchen Companion set ever existed, in my career, the set that I sold the most of in my whole life, we didn't have ultimates, we didn't have signatures when I was a rep, okay? So it was Homemaker or below. There's nothing else, I sold season 4, episode 4. It was Homemaker, not quite. I sold a lot of Homemakers. Trade special, sold a lot of trade special. Galley Plus, sold a lot of Galley Plus 6. The set I sold the most was the Galley Plus 6 on the trade-in special. I can tell you just from memory, I'm positive if I stacked up all the pieces of paper, all the order forms, I'd have the slight, little bit highest stack would be on that 4th option on the Galley Plus 6 trade-in special. And they would be asking me, could we do that one on the trade-in? Now, let me ask you a quick question. Come up for air for a second. If I did those 4 sets, which is really 2 sets with 2 options on each, 4 options. If I did those really slow, how easy was it to sell a starter set? They're like, this is like $500. This is nothing compared to the Homemaker, right? So it's so easy to sell starter sets and customize because they thought so much about the higher numbers. See, a lot of reps they make the mistake of going too fast to where they'd probably be comfortable. No, go slow up here where they're not quite sure, because if I sold them on the Homemaker, were they more likely to buy a Galley? Heck yeah. And they feel like they're missing a couple pieces, but they can live with it, right? I'm missing a couple features on my car, but I can live with what I got. I don't have the most expensive car on the planet. I have a pretty good one, but not the most expensive. I can live with this. They can live with the galley. And then when you get to those starter sets, so they still get a block, they still get the safer, they got the right tool for the jobs they use most, and it's discounted, and they get free stuff. Right? All those reasons why sets make sense, you still have all those reasons when you get to the starter sets. If you go too fast to the starter sets, you're out of options. Too fast, right? So then, let me go to the specific customer. During this whole process, I've been watching them, and I said, you have to be present. Remember I said we have to have a customer present, which we don't have, but you have to be present, Katie, and what that means is you have to know that they probably don't like, or let me say it this way. What I know they do like is the spatula spreader and the petite chef, and like the trimmer or the petite carver. So like those 3 knives. So when I get to the essential set that has the spatula spreader and the chef's knife and the petite carver and 2 other knives, it happens to be the fork and the paring knife. I'm going to talk a lot about the essential set because I noticed she really wants to do a lot of chopping, and I noticed she makes a lot of sandwiches, and she loves bagels. So I know they want a set with those 2 knives. I'm going to talk about the essential set a lot, and I'll be talking it with the blue book, and I'll be showing the pictures of all the knives. I go, this set has this one, this one, this one that I know you want. And then these 2, you're going to use the fork, and you're going to use the paring knife. And you still get the block, and you still get table knives, and if you get that set, I can still give you shears. Now, when I go to the studio has 2 of those 3, but not 3 of those 3. So I'm going to say, the studio set, I'm not sure is as good of a set for you because you don't have a chopping knife. And I know you'd make salad, soup, stew, stir-fry, stuffing, and salsa. So I'm not sure the studio set is really the best for you. So I'm going to flip by it. And I'm like, that's how long. It took me like 8 seconds to show the studio set. Now, with another customer who doesn't care about chopping, I'm going to actually breeze a little bit over the essentials, but I'm going to talk a lot about the studio because they definitely like those pieces, but the chopping knife isn't a concern to them, and that set doesn't have a chopping knife. So that's going to be a set I'll dress up more with that specific customer. So that when you show 8 starter sets, if you go overboard, it takes like 7 hours. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is too many knives. Like you said, they get what? Overwhelmed with so much information. You got to be the funnel, the filter of information of what's good and what's not so important to them when you're talking about 8 starter sets. You got to narrow the 8 down to like 2. Now when I get to the space saver, I turn to the picture. The space savers right there, actually the all knife and the kitchenette set are right there with the trays. I'll be like, hey, the all knife set, this does have your chopper, it does have your trimmer, it does have your spatula spreader, and the paring knife and the carver in a tray, hangs on the wall, goes in the drawer with a cutting board with a sharpener. The kitchenette set, I wouldn't even recommend. It doesn't have your spatula, it doesn't have the chef's knife, so I'm not going to spend any time on that one. They're like, oh good, don't talk about that one. And notice I'm on her side, aren't I? I'm helping her. Like, hey, you have 4 kids. You shouldn't buy a 4-seater car. You can't buy that car. Well, I want it. You can't buy that car. You don't have too many kids. You got to buy a car that has 6 seats or 5 seats or whatever. You get the point, right? And so you have to be you're on the side of the customer. Oh, I don't eat gluten. Okay, well, let me show you our pizza menu. That's not going to go very well with a customer if you're a server. If they're gluten-free, you got to show them stuff that's gluten-free. So you got to show them the set that makes sense. The Space Saver set has a chopper. It doesn't have the spatula. So I won't talk about the Space Saver or the Gourmet. The Gourmet set has none of those knives. It has a spatula. It has a chopper, but it doesn't have a petite carver trimmer and doesn't have the spatula. So I'm going to talk about basically, in this case, the all knife set or the essential set because they want the choppers and the spatula spreaders. So I took 8 sets, showed them all, didn't diss any of them. I just said, for that set, for you, I wouldn't say that's the best. But I showed the 8 with highlighting the 2 that worked best. And then I say, of those, which do you like better? They're like, honey, do you want the tray or the block? They're like, the block. All right, table knives or no table? Table knives. What are they going to pick? Essential plus 5. And I go, instead of being $899 like the kitchen companions, the essentials plus 5 is only $717. That's $160 less, right? And then I go, oh, and by the way, it's only whatever, right? $717, $155 a month. And then I say, how does that sound? What does she say? Oh, I don't know. And she goes, all right, here's my shoes. How much am I trading? How much am I trading? And you're like, oh, well, you want the trade-in? Dang. All right, well, we can do it for only $574. And that's only $125. They're like $125. That's nothing. That's $4 a day. Think about that. $125 is $4 a day. You can't even buy a decent cheeseburger for $4. You know what I mean? You cannot get a Beto's burrito for $4. But can you get an Essentials plus 5 on trade-in special? Yeah. You can barely buy a pack of cigarettes. You can't even buy a freaking Starbucks. It's called $5, right? It's not Starbucks, $5. So you can't even buy a coffee or whatever drink they drink for $4 at Starbucks, right? And they can get an Essentials plus 5, 10 pieces of the homemaker for the rest of their lives. It's silly, right? That's easy. You with me? Just still can't get it, right?
Yeah.
What? Are you kidding me? You're crazy not to buy it, right? Are you guys buying right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what did I do? I raised the value, but then I what? If you didn't buy it, what did I do? How? Not fast. I went down slowly. Patience. Even though they're telling me about their son's teeth and grandpa's surgery and the new roof that they got to do, right? Even though that's the case, okay, I'm still dropping down, okay? But here's where it gets fun. Just like what's the next movie? What's the next? Now it's like we're going to create our own movie, okay? We're going to write the end of the series, okay? Because we used to call it the Cutco game when I was a new rep a long time in the 1990s and 2000s. It was like we called it the Cutco game. We're gonna call it the Cutco game. We're just gonna pick what we want and get you the best deal. She's like, let's play the game. All these sets are cool, but I don't like what Olean made for you to show me. I don't like those pictures. I want what I want. In their mind, they say that, or who knows, a grandpa who's like, I don't want that. I just want what I want. Don't freaking argue with me. I want this, I want this, I want this, and I want this. And what's the deal? Give me a deal. Or it's just the husband wants to be that way because he's whatever, testosterone, right? And they just want what they want. Or a picky mom that wants exactly this and that. Great, right? Isn't that awesome? Because they want, what did I just say? They just want what they want, and you're there to deliver. You're there to find the right deal. So how do you do it without overwhelming them? One, guess what? Do more than 4 demos because you've not done that many with school and everything else going on. You haven't done that many demos. So naturally, first of all, Katie, let me build your confidence. You're going to get smoother. Your demo is going to take 5 to 10 minutes less because you won't be seeing your aunt who talks and answers her phone and is rude to you because she's a family member, so she thinks it's okay. Family members make your demos go 15 minutes longer. I don't care how good you are at the demo. Your demos will be longer with family and friends. Okay, so as you get smoother, with every customer, you'll be shorter. But also, a lot of customers aren't quite as time-consuming and energy-consuming as sometimes family members are. And your best friend's mom and girlfriend's mom and stuff like that, whatever. Okay, so it's not as overwhelming as you get more comfortable with the info and going through it smoother. And also, you'll get more familiar with the blue book and how to show and how to pick. But again, specific situation. So the specific situation is you don't wait for her to tell you what she wants. You tell her, and not a pushy way, but you say, hey, homemaker, you got this piece of paper, right? The homemaker price, the trade-in, the galley or the kitchen companion, and the trade-in price, and the essentials price. You got half a sheet of paper left, right? And you say, well, I noticed you really like the spout. I'll use the same example. I noticed you really like a chopping knife. Would you want petite santoku, chef's knife, petite chef? What? Okay, so the petite santoku. Okay, so I'll put petite santoku, X amount of dollars. All right, and then the spatula spreader for sure, because I know you got the kids and the sandwiches and bagels and icing cake. So the spatula spreader, and I know you want at least a trimmer or a petite carter. So of these two, I show them because I have them in my kit. Of these two, which one do you like? The middle-sized one or the small? And they're like, small. I go, would you want both? Because this is kind of a carving knife. And this is your utility knife. If you overuse the utility knife, you're not going to, and you don't have the petite carver, you're going to never have an ability to carve a nice turkey chicken roast, or even the chicken they sell at Costco, the $5, $6 chicken. Nice and, smells awesome when you go back there, right? You probably ought to at least get a petite carver, or maybe both. She's like, yeah, we'll probably get both. So I had petite carver and trimmer. Now, was that pushy, or did I like rationalize with her why it would make sense? It wasn't pushy, was it? No, it was like, you probably knew. And if she says one, I say, fine, just one. It'd be okay if she just said one. And I go, paring knife? She's like, paring knife. I'm like, okay, so which one? You want the 3-inch, the 2 3/4? You want the 4-inch? She's like, 3-inch paring knife. Okay, boom. So I got 5 pieces. And I go, I know you like the scissors. She's like, yeah, scissors. Or no. Or whatever. Well, if she only gets 5 pieces, what's page 12 say? Page 12 says the pick 5 special, right? The pick 5 special says, pick your favorite 5 pieces and get what for free? That's the next special. Pick 5 shears or 4 table knives, which is the essentials plus 5, almost, kind of. Without a block, without a cutting board, without the bells and whistles. It's 5 pieces with 4 table knives. It's like a cross between essentials plus 5, studio plus 4. But in this case, she gets exactly what she wants. If it didn't match one of the pictured sets, she gets her own set. We call it the Mrs. Jones set. It's the Uncle Maury and Aunt Katie set. And I used to call it that. I go, Mrs. Jones, it's the Aunt Katie and Uncle Maury set. They're like, yeah, it's the Aunt Katie and Uncle Maury set. How much is that set? And you're like, oh, no problem. And you add it up and you tell them how much it is, and then they give you the 4 table knives, which is $164 value for free. Or if it's the scissors, $112 value for free. And I look them in the eye and say, how does that sound? She goes, that sounds much better. And by the way, always quote a price with the payment. So if it's going to be, $462, I'm going to go add tax and then divide by 5 and say it's only going to be $106. $103 probably. In fact, I also could cheat sometimes. This gets kind of complicated, but I'll look at if it was 400 and what did I just say? What did I just say? $420. I'd say, I'd look at this and say the studio set's around 400 and something dollars. I go, it's gonna be about 90 some dollars a month, or $102. I don't know, somewhere between 90 and $100 a month. Like I'll estimate. I'll give it like $100 a month. She goes, $100 a month for 9 pieces of Cutco forever? I go, yeah, $100 a month for 5 months for 9 pieces of Cutco for the rest of your life. She's like, right? And I'm like, I'm just kidding, okay? Right? But, the customer's like, oh, man, yeah, we could do that. And I let it sink in. Silence, right? I go, should we go and do that? Look at my eyeballs. I started to say this earlier. There's 2 times I always have eye contact. One is when I say the price, and 2 is when I say, how does that sound, or would you like to get that? Anytime I'm asking them to place the order, or when I'm saying the price. So instead of being $1,275, the kitchen companion is only $8.99. Where are my eyeballs? $8.99. So when I say the price, because I have to show confidence right there, and I also want to show confidence when I what? Ask for the order, right? So when I ask for the order, I always have eye contact. If that's too much, now it just gets fun. Now I go, okay, well, no problem. If that doesn't work, we could just take this off and take that off, because I know she didn't like those as much. And we could do the pick 3 special. And what is the pick 3? Pick 3 pieces and get a 4th for free. So take off 1 knife of their favorite 5. Take out the table knives, right? Or take out the scissors. So pick your 4 favorites. And if you buy these 3, I can give you this one, which is a $72 value for free. Instead of being, $472, it's only $400. Or it's $372, only $300. Okay. And then finally, we can't get, by this point, in my mind, I'm the customer now. I'm going to switch. I'm the customer. I'm thinking, I got to buy something. Whether you know it or not, the customer in their mind is like, I got to buy something. This is too freaking good. So I look them in the eye and I go, look, you got to buy something. Almost, you could say that and they wouldn't be, they're like, I was just thinking that. I got to buy something. And you go, well, great, you can just do what's called the reserve your buy now bonus, right? Most customers find that, just right now is not, or not most customers, but I say, Ms. Jones, it sounds like right now Cutco's, it's not, you want Cutco, it's just not a good time. They're like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I know, because you just said that. And I go, well, you could just do your reserve your buy now bonus special. And if you get at least one piece today, you become a Cutco owner. And all of my Cutco customers, all my Cutco owners are always eligible for future discounts and free stuff later. So you'll end up saving a ton of money, and at least you'll get your favorite piece until you get your full set. They're like, okay, all right. And I say, well, it helps me out a lot towards my goal. So what's your favorite piece? From what I saw today, it seems like a spatula spreader, huh? Or she's like, yeah, or the trimmer. It's always one of those two, right? And I go, that one's only $71 or whatever it is. And, so would you want to go ahead and get that today? And, and by the way, you can put it on 2 payments if you want. Come on in, all right? And you want to get started with just that. And they're like, yeah. If they buy one knife, you know what I might do, just to be nice, is I'll throw in the sheath for free. They buy the knife, and I'll give them the $6 sheath or $8 sheath or whatever for free, if I have to. But they come with a paper sheath, and they always keep that thing. They're using it all the time. It's in the dishwasher more than it's in the drawer. It's always dirty. You know what I mean? And they don't put the sheath in the sink. They're just, they'll probably just keep it in the sink all the time or whatever. So now, did that answer on purpose? I went way off on your. Do you understand the specific situation though? Yeah. You asked that question to start this, and it was like, well, what do I do when I get down to the customizing? The answer is don't. Don't get to the customizing. And I'm not saying that to be pushy. I'm saying you don't get to the customizing if you what? Drop down slower and sell the homemaker, or have them sold on the homemaker, and then it's easy to sell a starter set. I'm sorry, a galley set, kitchen companions, or a starter set. And they're getting a better deal. When they buy a set, they're getting what? It's safer. It's a discount. Free stuff, and like you said, the right tool for the right job, and it's safer for 2 reasons. 1, the right tool for the right job. 2, a block or tray to store it in, right? And one of the worst things for Cutco is Cutco. In the drawers, they're just literally cutting each other up, in the drawer. When you slide open the drawer and back and forth, Cutco gets cut up by Cutco, right? And it dulls each other. They dull each other. Whereas a block or tray, it's safer and it's more. Knives are gonna last longer, look better. It looks nice in the kitchen, right, or whatever. So the answer is, in the specific situation, 1, drop down slower so it makes sense to buy a set, and they want to know what the next price is on the next set, and they're like, oh, that sounds better. But if you have to do down to customizing, it gets really fun because you tell them their favorites, like we said, because you were in the actual demo and you know what they like the most. So part of being a good sales rep is being a good customer service rep. I went to dinner in Boston the other night, a week ago with all the division managers. Dinner was $2,000, okay? And the server was literally telling us what to order. He didn't tell us the most expensive. I don't drink wine, but I saw this happen because everyone else drinks wine. And they're like, this bottle's good, but you should get this wine. And it was less expensive, but the server was what? He was serving his customers, saying this would be the better wine with what you're ordering. And these appetizers were bomb. They were so freaking good. This is a restaurant where like Mark Wahlberg frequents. Like Mark Wahlberg, like Jason Bourne. No, I'm just kidding. That's the other guy. Okay, that's funny. Okay, these are in Boston, right? And they're like the celebrities go and eat here and everything. It was a really great restaurant. And he was like, get this, and if you're gonna get that, get this. And then we were asking what should we get, and I had this really great, Supa di Mare. It's a Italian pasta dish with all this seafood in it. It's so good, and they just recommended all in the. It's a great dinner. Okay, but my point is, he wasn't trying to sell us more just to make more money, right? He was giving us the best stuff to order for what we told him we wanted. And when you're selling Cutco and you're trying to push something on them, that's not good. But when you're selling them on the homemaker and they buy a homemaker, you did your job. But if you sold them on the homemaker, easy to sell a galley. easy to buy a trade-in special, easy to sell a starter set. And then sometimes you don't even get to the customizing. When you get to the customizing, it's often because they already own Cutco and you want to practice that. And you have to kind of, when you get to that customizing, so it doesn't seem overwhelming on what pieces they have to choose from to make this special, 5-piece special, you tell them the pieces for their 5-piece special. And sometimes it's going to be like, buy 3 kitchen knives and a fishing knife and the scissors. And I'll give you the 4 table knives for free. How do you know how to do that? I just threw that at you, didn't I? 3 kitchen knives, a fishing knife, and scissors. How do you know how to do that? 1, what? Call the office. 2nd, if we don't answer, call again. 3rd, call an assistant manager if you don't get us at the office. And 4th, you actually know how to do it with your bonus points. Remember, if they buy X amount of dollars, you give 20 points per 100. So you buy $500, $700, $300, whatever it is, you just say 20 points per 100, that's 60 or 80 or 100 points or whatever, 140 points. And you just give free stuff that's within that limit. Just within that limit. And it's really easy to customize once you've done a few more demos. This is number 1. Number 2, drop down how again? Slower, so they're more likely to get this and or almost get it. If they almost get it, the customizing is easy. Plus, you're going to tell them, don't get that appetizer, get this appetizer. Don't get that knife, get this knife. This is what you would use. This is what you would use. For your lifetime of cooking, you're going to use this. So I suggest we do that. And I'll give you this for free. And it's only this much a month. Write it down.
I trust you so much because you're the professional. I love doing that and like helping them because they don't know. You know, like you know more than them about knives, and it's weird because they cook a lot, but it's like when you're there, like you know what the knives do and stuff. Yeah, I love that. And I feel like that just builds your credibility so much, and they're more likely to buy because they're confident in you. You know. They're more
likely to buy. They're more likely to buy more.
Yeah.
When you help them pick the best, and you know what? They're like, this was so pleasant. Katie was so helpful, and they throw down $500, $700. And you know what? You write that order up, and you're getting a load of referrals. They're like, man, I didn't feel pressure. This was actually really fun. And they'll give you a whole bunch of referrals, right? Because it was enjoyable. It's like this server, you know, he's telling us this is what you get, this is what you do, and we're like, awesome. And we were hanging out. He was like talking about, you know, of course, with Mark Wahlberg, it's an easy subject when you're a server and you know, serve that guy, right? And he was like telling us, I'm like, has Gordon Hayward been here yet? Because Gordon Hayward moved to Boston. I was like jealous. Okay, but anyway, you know, like you build a relationship with the customer, and now it's not like a fighting with them or convincing them or like you against them or anything like that. It's, let me show you the best options, and if the homemaker doesn't work, we'll show you the next best option. And it's this one, it's only a few less knives, but a lot less money. And the starter sets still get, you know, the right tools for what you use, and then finally Cutco game or customizing options, right? And it's fun, and that's where you're, remember, I'll go back to the very first thing we said is you spending $1,300 is kind of unheard of. It's like twice a year when you pay tuition, right? But for a family, it's like you spending $127. They spend $1,273 is like you spending $127. It's a purchase you can figure out, you can handle. It's a little stressful, but it's something you can figure out. $127. But mom and dad spending $1,273 at a zero. It's like, yeah, they can figure it out. It's not a stressful purchase, but it's, you know, they got to figure something out if they want to drop $1,200, right? And they don't have to do that because they do 5 payments. And then you're back at $270. What was my cell phone bill last week? Right? $270. So they can do that pretty easily. And that's on the big sets. Imagine the small sets, how easy that is. But that comes from your conviction, your confidence. That's why we tell you to know it word for word and drop down how. Yeah. Cool. Good. Good conversation. You guys make great customers, I got to tell you. All right.